Hey guys, per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. So we have a fresh blog post from Bitmain regarding Bitcoin Cash and the like. And there's honestly so much drama. There's so much drama, so much politics and factions and tribes and just baloney and malarkey. I just don't care. I really don't care. Bitcoin's going to go to zero or it's not. So they can do whatever they want. Stuff's going to happen. I have to realize that there are events that may occur that will supersede or trump TA. That's fine. But I can't pay too much attention to it because there's something just new every day. There's too many options here until everything is all settled. I just have to say to myself, stuff's going to happen. It's going to be super risky to be in and out of positions here. You know, just like who would have predicted Bitcoin dropping 30% and then jumping back up? Arguably, there was some TA there that said support was strong, which I talked about in the BNC articles. But you never know with this stuff going on when a blog post can drop the price. So if we go over this real quick, it's essentially a bunch of blah 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 saying they're not going to hard fork, but we are closely observing the Bitcoin Cash movement, please. And do not rule out the possibility of supporting SegWit and 2x and BCC. And again, they're just saying it's a contingency plan, even though you hear Gian talk out of both sides of his mouth, whatever. There's also some concern for the hard fork and the replay stuff. Again, I can't care about this stuff. It just doesn't matter to me. Either, when Bitcoin's at zero, I'm going to say I should have cared more, but right now I just don't care, honestly. There's obviously problems. There's obviously a narrative. There's a reason why the miners want to do what they do. I understand that. It's there. I'm going to put it in a box to the left, okay? And basically what I'm looking at, if I go back to biology for a second, my whole thing is all about punctuated equilibrium. So TA works best when things are just status quo. So whether or not you believe in evolution, whatever, this is just showing typically what happens. You can think of a hard fork as, a bend here, okay? There's some parallels between code and biology. So what I'm trying to say is when you get the problems, the changes in the protocol, that's when TA is going to be least valuable. The probabilities go way down because that's a huge event. That's a punctuated equilibrium. When things are stable like this, that's when I can lean on TA 100%. And again, the fundamental people are going to disagree with that. That's fine. I understand TA better, so that's just how it is for me. So when I'm talking about punctuated equilibrium, I've talked about it a few times, but this is what I'm talking about. And again, you have to say to yourself, if I'm in a leveraged position right now, I can't walk away from it because it's going to get called one way or the other, especially if you're trading OKCoin. So let's start with the litmus test, the pitchfork. Again, we are happily above the pitchfork here. This says we're overbought on the given trend. We're going to hit this median line eventually. I don't know when. That isn't FUD. I'm just saying it's going to happen. Alright, that's like the fundamental stuff. It's in the back of my mind. Should we approach that zone? I can look to this, but right now we're probably going to go up, and I'll tell you why. So here's the current pitchfork. And again, you can see we bounced on the 200. No shocker there. We've bounced on the 200 this entire time since being above the 200. Again, the trend is your friend until the end. You got to assume it's going to bounce till it doesn't. You just have to. So that was the bounce. Great. Here's the pitchfork. Again, median line. We're pretty much at the median line. This gives us a little room for up here. Whether or not this pitchfork will even matter. I don't know whether or not these intra-trend pitchforks are such a big deal overall. But, upside here is around 4K plus if we're going to stay in this one. And we can only keep going up and up so fast as far as like the trend speed is concerned. Eventually it'll just be vertical, then it'll crash. And so it's really better if we take it slow, even though that's probably not going to happen. So let's look at some cloud. Let's look at doubled and singled. I get a lot of questions about which time frame should I watch? Why do you watch singled and doubled cloud? What does that even mean? Okay, so again, the settings for the cloud I use are adjusted for crypto. Why? Crypto's 24/7. The default cloud settings are set to 9 to 5 trading, 5 days a week. Crypto's 24/7 every day. So that changes the default settings, and then I double that. All that does is show you the double time frame cloud. So if you're looking at the weekly time frame, you're really looking at the 2-week cloud. Hopefully that makes sense. If I'm looking at the daily time frame, I'm really looking at the 2-day cloud. The reason you do this is to decrease the noise and prevent fake out breakouts, smooth things out a little bit, make you even more confident about entries, signals, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and just like the 200, I'm talking about this a few times, price has not closed below the Kijun this entire trend. And again, on the weekly, we could scroll around down here. If we do, that's difficult to trade. You're going to be looking at this on lower time frames. But just like the pitchfork, this says everything's fine as far as continuation. There's some questionable double topping here, similar to this stuff. This certainly looked a lot worse, even at the time. A tweezer top looks worse than what this was, which is a strong reversal. It's not rocket science. It shouldn't take me to tell you that that's a strong reversal. This is, questionably a bullish engulfing candle. Typically a bullish engulfing or a bearish engulfing candle encompasses the entire previous candle. We rarely get those just because of the way Bitcoin opens and closes. It's always open, but it's certainly possible. We did get one in the hourly on the bottom of this range here. So when you see it, it's super rare just because of the way Bitcoin is set up, but when you see it, it's a strong signal. Okay, so that's singled. Double cloud. No actionable entries here. The entries were around the TK lines. Okay. If you look at singled, it's a little messier. You can see you're getting TK crosses here, which was a strong re-entry signal. Again, singled is 10-30, 60-30. You're getting bounces on the Kijun over and over and over. You're getting a clean bounce here on the Kijun. This is what you want to see. This tells me that these settings are valid. Just like the pitchfork, if price is bouncing around those resistance lines and reversing potential reversal zones, that tells me that everything's valid. So again, right now there's nothing actionable as far as long short is concerned. On the weekly cloud, it just says trend is fine. Another thing to pay attention to, cloud is super thin. That's what you want to see. Here, cloud was super thick. This really says we dropped quickly and then went into ranging mode. When cloud gets thick and you're ranging, you get edge-to-edge potential, okay? That's why we want to avoid that here for down. Here's the daily doubled. I was talking about this edge-to-edge for a few days, few articles, few videos. It occurred. You can see perfect reversal nearly on this index anyway, on the daily. Are there actionable signals here? Yes. There is a TK cross that is bearish. Price is above the cloud. Cloud is bullish. Chiku span, lagging span is above price, above cloud. So once again, in order, price is above cloud, yes. TK cross, which is this blue-red line, not currently bullish. We'll get to that. So that's the flipping signal to watch, which I think will be too slow on the daily with doubled settings. I think you're going to miss out on a few things. Cloud is bullish. That hasn't changed. Chiku span, okay. So those are the four things you're looking for on the cloud. Before you even look at the cloud, you should notice that this is a textbook flag, okay? That means there's an inherent bullish bias here. It's a tight flag. Should I be looking at it on this time frame? I don't think so. I think you're going to miss out. I think the signals are going to be quicker on a lower time frame. That gives the opportunity for fake out breakouts because anytime you will reduce the time frames, but it also means you're missing out on something if you're only watching it on high time frames. You're not going to see this on the weekly. On the weekly, it looks kind of absurd. If we go to the singled cloud, 10-30, 60-30, you get a little different story. Cloud is not yet bullish. TK cross is basically on top of itself. Everything else is the same. So you can either watch the doubled on this time frame, TK for the TK cross, or watch the singled for the rest of the signals. It's a clean TK cross, a clean Kumo twist, bullish. Another thing to pay attention to is the distance of price from Kijun. Kijun is the equilibrium, just like the median line on a pitchfork. Price is going to continually want to come back to that zone. So price being this far away from the Kijun says things are overbought on this time frame. Overbought on this time frame. See how far we're even up in here from the Kijun? Overbought on this time frame. Usually things need to settle in before continuation occurs. Hence consolidation, triangling. If we go to the 4-hour, again you're seeing a very clean equilibrium, equilateral triangle, flag, pennant, whatever you want to call it. Inherent bullish bias. I don't have volume on here, but it's descending. So it matches the consolidation pattern. Even looks like it's starting to break up. We'll see what happens. One thing immediately that I see is this TK disequilibrium, specifically known as a C-clamp. which is just a type of TK disequilibrium. That just says we've been consolidating in this zone for a while, have not moved. This is the 50% of this move here to here. If we break down, this is the target. It's going to be like 23.75. I already know the upside target, so we'll go over that. That's the downside target. Flag says we should go up. Cloud says we should go up. Should we go down? That's where we're going to go down to, 23.75. That's what the cloud wants us to go down to. That's where Dow theory wants you to go down to. And again, if you're looking at easier ways to see the triangle, you can just look at the Chiku as well. It's pretty much just a line graph of price. That's another bonus for the Chiku. When it's not too noisy, you can see certain things. You know, you can see the head and shoulders a little cleaner here, inverted head and shoulders, which we've hit the target essentially for that. Looking at single doesn't really tell me much more information. You know, this is a support, this is a support. Nothing new here. I don't see a benefit to using singled on anything but high time frames for Bitcoin. And singled on 60-minute, just to show you, kind of a garbly mess, but again, more possibilities for actionable signals. What are you waiting on? You're waiting on the cloud. You're waiting on Chiku span. You're waiting on price to be above cloud. So if you want to go down to low time frames, go for it. What are you watching? Again, TK cross above cloud. Those type of signals you're always watching for. Here was the inverted head and shoulders. We broke above that. So you're just building confluence. You're building evidence. You're trying to convince yourself that we're going in one direction or the other before you're opening a trade. So here's the beauty of patterns. You have a decisive target before it completes, well before it completes. You could have drawn this 2 days ago and predicted the triangle. Okay, people make fun of triangles all the time. That's fine. The point is, this saves you from trading garbage sideways, okay? If you want to trade this, by all means, I would much rather trade this move than these moves, okay? So you draw the triangle. This is from yesterday even. It hasn't changed. Targets are the same. You can see volumes descending. That's what you want to see in a pattern of any kind. Targets around 3,400, 3,300, somewhere in there. I'm always going to use the fib extension as a target, as well as the measured move. Measured move for flags are just the pole upward from the breakout point. Based on the triangle, you can estimate it from here. Okay, not rocket science. Not too difficult, don't overthink it. Whether or not it hits that target is besides the point. That's the measured move right now. That's the minimal expectation, 3,300, let's say. Should you have close orders there, okay. Alright, so that's the flag, and again, I would watch that on hourly, 2 hour, 4 hour. I wouldn't watch it on the daily. I think you're going to miss the signal if you're not already long. So this is the 5200. I just want to talk about this real quick. This just shows you again where the actionable signals. There's no actionable signal here. Okay, there's no crosses. There's nothing. It just tells you trend is fine. If you look at the 4 hour, you can see we had several actionable signals based on crosses, and same thing here. This cross is even late on the 4 hour. It's not as noisy as the hourly is, which I'll show you in a second, but it's a little late on the cross, depending on how you trade the crosses, how you trade the EMAs. I'm not really set on using them alone for trading, but certainly part of the cloud thing, I think they're valuable. So if we look on the hourly, you can see tons of crosses in here. Mainly because we were consolidating. When we're consolidating, you don't want to focus on trend indicators. I would consider EMAs as part of a trend thing. Cloud is part of a trend thing. You know, you want to focus on things like B-bands. So if we look at the hourly, you can see we had the cross all the way down here at 2200-ish. I've sort of used this ready, set, go thing in the past where you get the cross, that's get ready. Breaking the 200s, get ready, the cross is get set, and then the bounce from the 200 is go. It worked out here. There's a video on that somewhere on the channel. So currently, you know, there's no actionable signal, but if we drop, it's saying the 200 it again should be support. This is showing 2600-ish. If we look at 4 hour real quick again, you know, 200 again is support. Again, it's showing you this has moved very quickly. We're well above both the 50 and the 200. You can see how we hugged the 50 all the way up until we didn't, you know, and then we pulled back. So that would be evidence of a pullback before going up. Chart pattern says we're going to rocket from here. And lastly, let's just jump to the doubled hourly cloud. So we have edge-to-edge potential again, 2550. Okay, should this complete and drop down. Again, you're waiting for price to be cleanly above cloud. TK cleanly bullish. It's not at the moment. Everything else is okay. Chiku span, which people normally disregard, don't pay attention to, is the most valuable in times like this, okay? If everything is above cloud, including Chiku span, which it should be at this point, this should be the clearest signal of direction for up. The least opportunity to fake you out. You don't even need to draw the triangle. You can see it, it's there, whatever. Just watch for Chiku span here. If it breaks up with everything else above price, that should be your signal. That's all I got for today. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe. Hit me up on Twitter, Telegram. If you want to talk one-on-one on Skype, 0.1 BTC an hour. Hit me up wherever. Follow me on Twitter. We broke 10K followers. Huge ups to everybody who shares everything I have. Thank you so much. And there's always a donation address on the bottom in the description as well. If you want to see anything else, let me know. And happy trading.